The following story may be disturbing to hear. Listener discretion is advised. Faceless head looking at us. Hello. It's my first time writing something like this. I can't find any information regarding what my family is experiencing, but it's weird and it's happening more often. I live with my girlfriend and our 3 kids. Our house has 2 floors. The second floor has all the rooms, and the first floor has the living room, bathroom, kitchen, and a small hall that is behind the living room. Now, I'm a firefighter, and that means I have to work at night. When I'm home, everything is calm. A day or two, we'll hear strong noises like beating on something, bags falling out of nowhere. It's rare, but happens on the first floor. Me and my girlfriend feel a very strong negative sense from the bathroom and the hallway. I mostly close the bathroom door to put me at ease. Sometimes I feel that someone is watching my back at night and when everyone is asleep. And the feeling is so strong that I turn off the TV and just go upstairs. Now, most of the activity happens at night and when I'm at work. My girlfriend and my kids feel really scared to go to the bathroom or on the first floor. They say they feel watched and a sense of dread. Me and my girlfriend do not talk about this stuff with the kids around, so it's strange that they see the same things. My girlfriend says that sometimes when she turns around and looks in the dark hallway, a small head, something small, but pure black and faceless, is always watching her. She even said that she saw the reflection of it when the TV turned off out of nowhere. My older kid also saw a black head in the corner, watching him. One night, the 3 of them woke from a nightmare, screaming like hell. They said they saw a big shadow in the middle of their room. My girlfriend and I woke up from their screams. We turned on the lights, but saw nothing. They managed to sleep with our presence. Our middle child is so scared that he pees in the bed instead of going to the bathroom at night. Last night, I was arriving home from work. My girlfriend said she was in the bed with our older kid, talking. And out of nowhere, she saw a small shadow jump to the bed of the other kid. Our older kid saw it too and said, "See? I told you that there's a shadow watching us." That's when she got chills. She also told me that during the night, downstairs, they could hear strong knocking. At 3 a.m., our younger kid screamed in panic and said there was a black, faceless head and hands in the corner that led downstairs. At 7 a.m., she screamed again, saying that the black, shadowy head was now on top of her watching and that the face was a woman's. My girlfriend said that the head is really common, but it's only watching them, and once spotted, it goes away. What can it be? What can I do? Some short stories. Growing up in my childhood home, my friends and I spent a lot of time in the ditch between my neighbor's house and mine. We would do a whole bunch of things like crawling through the drainage pipes, only when sunny, of course, playing in the ditch while it rained. It was super fun when the water built up, and other forms of tomfoolery. One day, I was hanging out in the ditch with a couple of my friends when we heard whistling. We all got quiet for a moment and listened very hard. It was getting closer and closer, while we all looked around panicked, trying to figure out if it was someone messing with us. We all got out of the ditch, looking around everywhere, and didn't see anyone. Soon, it sounded like the whistling was coming from behind us, and we booked it to my house. We all took a few minutes to settle down, and were still looking around to see if someone's older sibling was being a jerk, but we never saw anyone. We all discussed how scared we were and how it felt like the hairs on the back of our necks stood up the closer the whistling got. We never saw anything, and we never heard the approach of anyone that might have been whistling. Once, my mom and I were taking a walk around our neighborhood to get out of the house for a little bit. We were a couple of streets away from our street and walking next to the local park. It was midsummer in the middle of Georgia, so the temperature was about 95 degrees. I don't know why I agreed to walk. I hate sweating. We were just chatting about different things when both of us got silent. As we walked through an ice-cold spot. It was 2 seconds at the most, but the change in temperature was very jarring. We get through the spot and walk in silence a bit further down the road. I break the silence first and ask if she felt the icy spot back there. She looked at me and nodded her head and said she also felt like we were being watched and weren't supposed to go through the spot. The mood had drastically changed, and we decided to end the walk early and just go home. Lastly, a bunch of friends and I were at the neighborhood park, and being your typical obnoxious middle schoolers, we were sitting around the picnic table area and were laughing and joking. My younger sister was there, and I happened to be best friends with someone with the same name as her. We're all laughing and joking together when suddenly a few of us hear something calling my sister/friend's name, and we weren't sure who it was directed towards. Those of us who heard it the first time quickly told the others to be quiet and listen. We heard it again and more clearly because everyone was quiet now. It was very unsettling the way the name was said. None of us could tell the gender of the voice or pinpoint where exactly it was coming from. It kept saying the name over and over, getting more drawn out each time it was said. There were a few other kids and parents at the park in the play area, so we figured it was one of them calling their kid. However, we were all watching them, and they were on the other side of the park, which means they would have had to be yelling for us to hear them. This voice that said the name was not yelling. After that, we decided to go our separate ways for the night. We didn't go back to that park for a while. Should I be concerned? My boyfriend and I moved into our current house in June. It's been wonderful to own our own home. However, the woods behind our house and the bog, as my friends refer to it, leave everyone on edge. Of course, this wasn't noticed until after we moved in. There's been a few weird happenings behind the house, but now things have gotten a lot closer. My friend and I were outside chatting at about 10 p.m. I was taking the trash out and asked her to come with me for safety in numbers. As we're talking, we both hear a child either laugh or cry. It was hard to tell because we were being pretty loud. We stop and listen. It sounds like a toddler girl around 3 or 4. She starts calling Mama over and over. Sometimes she sounds close and other times she's farther. My friend and I look at each other and decided to go inside. My friend starts to interrogate me. How many kids live on this street? One, who's about 12. Any Halloween decorations that speak? None. All are yard decorations that don't make sounds. Did you get goosebumps too? Yes, I hated being out there. Other than the toddler, It was very quiet and cold. Fast forward 2 nights later, and my friend is back at my house. We're sitting on my couch planning a party, and we both hear giggling coming from my yard. It was loud enough to cut through our conversation and scare the shit out of my cat. We sit there quietly looking at the door and hear Mama again. I pull out the phone and look through my door camera. There's not a single person anywhere around, and there's faint giggling through the camera. So I guess there's a ghost girl running around now? No thanks. So I use the woods term loosely. It's not dense in the slightest, and I can see the lights from the houses behind me at night. Several of us have gone through and never saw any big cats. Not saying they can't pass through, though. I live in a suburb in middle Georgia, so there's no mountains or state parks within 30 miles of me. Hope this clears up some confusion. The Old Man in the Secret Garden. I never write, but I have been reading so many stories on here, so I figured I would tell one of my own. Background. I live in a small town, but in the popular fancy neighborhood that everyone made sure to hit up on Halloween night because of the full-size candy bars. My family lives on a dead end and in the deepest part of this small neighborhood, which contains my aunt's house, sister's, and mine. My house was the oldest house, as well as the first house to be built before the whole neighborhood. Before, it was all woods as far as I know. My aunt is very creative and artistic, so she turned this trail in her backyard to a secret garden. It was full of old angel statues, old bird fountain, a bench, and just a lot of woods. Me and my cousins always played in these woods when we were kids, until we heard the old man. Note, by the garden, there was a super old shed made of tin, and it was there before my house, I'm guessing. Also, about 100 feet away, a slab of old busted concrete, the size of another shed, covered by a ton of leaves and dirt. Just thought I would add that. The beginning, I was around 8 or 9 years old, and after school, I wanted to go play at my cousin's house, like I usually did. So I walked up to the driveway, and my older cousin, male, 12, was playing with the basketball, and stopped to ask me if I had heard the old man. I was obviously confused and asked what he was talking about. He then pointed at the secret garden and said, "Listen." So we went quiet, and in that instance, all you heard was moaning like someone was in pain. After hearing it for over 5 minutes, I ran home as it never stopped. My cousin informed my aunt about the noises we were hearing, and she just thought it was nothing and brushed it off, since we were young and always played pretend in the woods. But the noise never stopped. It would grow louder or be very quiet, but never stopped. The next day, my older cousin, male 12, had a friend that lived in the next yard over. He was also male. He had a unique name. He decided to cut through the woods, as he usually did, to get to my cousin's house, only to be stopped. He heard his name being called through the woods that went further back. And he was there for a few minutes, I'm guessing, confused. My aunt noticed him. The kitchen window had a view of the garden. Walking out, and immediately dropped everything, yelling and running to him, checking and making sure he was unharmed and okay. Which freaked us out because she didn't believe us about the old man. The neighbor then said someone was calling for him in the woods, groaning his name loud. He ended up getting homeschooled, even though his dad was a public school teacher, and he stopped coming over. At my house, our woods are connected, and in my backyard, we have a huge shop my dad and his friend worked out of. My dad's friend was alone working in the shop with all the shop doors open, and begins to hear the moaning noise even over the machine equipment. So he walked down the hill to check out the noise, and it stopped. He went back to work, heard the noise again, and this repeated several times before he just left. Soon after this, my aunt freaked out and called the police. The police heard the noise. All I remember is them saying, "Well, we didn't find a body or anything else after hours of searching our woods." This wouldn't be the first time the police were called either. At some point, the groaning stopped, maybe a week or two. When it started back, my aunt had called the police again to come out and double check. Again, they found nothing. My aunt was most likely terrified, but tried not to show it. She went around surrounding areas, nearby logging companies, other houses a mile away from the woods to try and get answers if they've heard it or if they're making the noises. Then my aunt started holding prayer groups with women from her church to come and pray over her home. This happened a few times. I remember seeing around 9 women in a circle praying and holding hands over the yard for minutes. The moaning stopped, and we never played in the secret garden again. I will never know the truth to what we heard. Thank you all so much for listening. I know I'm late, but happy Halloween. I am so mad at myself for not preparing a special Halloween video, but better late than never. And I know I've been gone for a while. I've had some major life changes taking place over the past few months, and I ended up having to move to another state. But all is well, and I do intend on posting more regularly. I'm still getting settled into my new place and setting things up, but I am so excited about what is up and coming. I am now on TikTok as Midnight Succubus Reads, and you can now join my spooky club on Patreon. I'm also under the username Midnight Succubus Reads. If you join my community, you'll get to see my videos before they're released, some bonus content, and some personal thoughts and ideas while I'm filming more content for you all. Thank you again to all the Reddit users allowing me to narrate their stories on my channel. And if you enjoyed my video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.